Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So, we are now on sort of what I'm going to call basically the final sort of like stretch for our From Software OST marathon. And I know a lot of this has been like quite sporadic in terms of sometimes we'll talk about Elden Ring OSTs and then we'll do a little bit of Dark Souls 2. But we are sort of like coming to an end. I promise I'm saving some of the absolute best until last. That might be a bit of an issue with what we cover in a few videos' time. But now we move on and we discuss definitely one of the more iconic OSTs of Dark Souls 3. Because by and large, this is the second actual boss fight you face in the game. And it helps that it's actually one of the bosses that has a slightly more interesting backstory than most, because Vordt and the dancer, who is unnamed as we know, were two Outrider knights who got, I don't know if they were kidnapped or they were just sort of like experimented on by Pontiff Sulyvahn, and he sent them to, I don't know, either scour or just sort of keep watch over sort of like the walls of Lothric. He never really, Sulyvahn's influence never really made it into Lothric Castle as far as I'm aware of. Though why Pontiff didn't thought about trying to actually launch a full-scale invasion of Lothric Castle is a good question that I'm not entirely sure I understand. But the first Outrider Knight you fight in Dark Souls 3, being Vordt, is, well, I'll discuss a little bit more about what I think about the actual fight itself, because it is probably one of the easier fights, in the game, which, it's to be fair, Dark Souls 3's progression is a lot more linear, so a lot of the easier bosses were going to happen at the very beginning. So, but that doesn't mean to say it can't be disinteresting, and it can't be, very, very unique. So it's again fortunate this is Dark Souls 3, where the polish basically comes to the very surface. So here we are, Vordt of the Boreal Valley. And yes, for once, I will say when we do get to like the second stage of the fight, it's the part of the fight that basically everyone memes on and stuff like that. But it is worth noticing that actually the beginning of the fight is very admirable. It's aggressive. There's a lot of grit, but also a lot of honor and nobility, as though you're fighting a monstrous version of what used to be a proud knight. Because if you've never, I'll just maybe put like, if you don't recognize Vordt, he crawls about on all fours, heavily dressed in armor, and he still wields his tiny little hammer around to fight. And he fights again. It's very slow, and he's very I'd say tactical. He will leap at moments. He will smash if you come too close. And because the arena you fight him in isn't necessarily the biggest in the game, but it's still a reminder you're facing something, again, big and imposing. And it's not helped by the fact that basically the odds are not in your favor because of what happens in the second stage. And then, of course, you have to remember, you're just unkindled. You've been sent out to seek the Lords of Cinder like many others have. And, well, it's nothing new. It's like a grand challenge. It's the sort of exclamation point and saying, are you really sure you have what it takes? Because it's going to get harder from here on out. And here it comes. Everybody knows this part. It's where Vordt literally seemingly loses his mind and he just charges back and forth all over the arena, completely out of control, and, well, madness has taken... I have one theory I have about why this happens is because if you beat Vordt and later on when you get... when you're able to actually kindle souls into creating unique weapons, you can either claim Vordt's hammer or claim... I don't know if it's either Aldrich's sapphire or... No, it's Pontiff's right or left eye, which means that the more aggressive you become, the more damage you do. And I like to imagine, in a very small sort of way, is that... Pontiff specifically infused the ring he gives Vordt specifically to attack in moments of crises. For remember that Pontiff was not only a great great swordsman, he was also a phenomenal sorcerer who was able to conjure so many items in the game into weapons of strength, rings of power, and it infuses these people so much it drives them berserk, as we see in Vordt's case. And even the part where it just sort of fades away, even though it's probably just more to do with the video than anything else. But I also like to imagine, in a very sort of macabre sort of way, it's reflective of the fact that Dancer and Vordt were taken away. They were held hostage by Pontiff. They were given great power, and they did. They almost betrayed each other for this cause. It's a very fantastic sort of it's again one of these things about how they combine like gameplay and the lore and the music and how it works and it comes together. And what we'll be covering next time is sort of a bit of a stronger example of this, of madness almost seeping through in a slightly more sinister way. And I'm not talking about Pontiff because we've covered Pontiff before, but we'll see about Vordt's counterpart, if you will. And with all that being said and done, I hope all of you guys enjoyed the OST to Vordt of the Boreal Valley, and I can't wait to sort of view you guys again in the next video. Take care, and bye-bye for now. And if this thing can ever turn off properly, then there we go.